Hey friend, in today's watercolor video, I'm going to be color swatching my top 12 favorite Winsor Newton pigments in their watercolor collection. They have over 100 colors and it can be kind of hard to niche down to just a few colors in case you're just starting watercolor or you want more of a minimalist palette. In my paint palette, I do have 24 colors, and I did show that in a previous video that I'll link in the description below. But in this video, I really wanted to niche down what are my top 12 cannot paint without colors, and so I can't wait to show you what those colors are in the next clip. All right, the very first color I am going to color swatch here is Dioxazine Purple, and I really love this purple in the Winsor Newton palette, and certainly you can mix red and blue to make purple, but I just find I love just having a purple this vibrant ready to go on my palette. And the second paint that we're going to color swatch is Prussian Blue. This is my go-to blue. It's very vibrant and rich, and it's just got a beautiful hue to it. I absolutely love that it's got kind of like a very subtle blue-green hue that's not too overbearing, but this is definitely my go-to blue. And the next color I love is Cobalt Turquoise Light. This color is super pigmented and rich, and it reminds me of some of the water off the coast of California around Big Sur. It's just a really beautiful, vibrant turquoise that I really, really love. Okay, and the next color I'm going to do is a Payne's Gray. I use this one quite often in my landscapes. I definitely could not go without this color. It's really nice for some moody skies, beautiful for mountain landscapes. Definitely one of my top 5 favorites. And then of course, I always gotta have a black in my palette, so I've got our Ivory Black here. Always need a nice good black. And then number 6 is my Cadmium Free Yellow. It's a nice pungent, vibrant yellow. All right, and my next color is going to be Permanent Rose. It's a nice, vibrant rose color, beautiful for sunsets. All right, and my next color is going to be Venetian Red. And I really debated having Winsor Red as one of my top 12, but in all honesty, the red that I use the most in my landscapes, especially for deserts, tends to be an earthier tone of a red, not so much of a bright rose red. So Venetian Red won over Winsor and Newton Red for me as far as my top 12, because that one I truly do use a lot. My next color is going to be Burnt Umber. Burnt Umber I use in desert landscapes, ocean and mountain landscapes. I use it pretty much for all of those. And you just gotta have a nice true brown. Alrighty, and our next color is going to be Sap Green. This is definitely my favorite go-to green. It's very versatile. It's just like a nice, happy, bright green. I'll do another layer just to darken up the hue and the value. Alrighty, and then I also have grown to love Viridian Green, and it's kind of a newer addition to my palette, but now that I've used it often, I am shocked that I didn't have it in my palette sooner in my watercolor journey, but I really like this soft kind of like blue-green, really pretty for ocean landscapes, and it's just nice and subtle. It's not as pungent as the Cobalt Turquoise Light, but I just really like the value of this and the hue. So pretty for like tropical kind of landscapes. Alrighty, and our last color I love for anything Pacific Northwest or pine tree related, Perylene green is going to be your best friend. I love this green. It's so rich and vibrant, very pungent. It's like the Payne's Gray of greens. So if you like Payne's Gray, I have a feeling that you would like Perylene green. But these are my top 12 non-negotiable colors that I absolutely have to have in my palette. I'm gonna go ahead and write the names of them down, and then I also wanna show in the next clip how I can achieve some of the other colors that I have in my palette, which in my palette I do have 24, but I've kind of cut it down to 12 here in this video of like my non-negotiables. But I wanna show how you can get a few more of these colors just by mixing up some of these as well. In order to mix up some of the colors that are missing from my original 24 color palette, I wanted to mix up a few of the colors to make about 6 more. And to make orange out of these colors, I would simply just mix up some of my yellow with some Venetian red. And I would get kind of a rust orange, which I do like. And this is what the orange would kind of turn out to be. So a really nice kind of neutral orange. It's not quite as bright as the orange that I have on my paint palette. This is the orange I currently have. So this isn't as bright, but I still really like it and would be able to get by without the orange in my palette. Now the next color I want to mix up, or color combination, is cadmium-free yellow with some burnt umber to get yellow ochre. So I'm going to mix up that yellow in my palette and then just a touch of some burnt umber just to tone it down. Okay, and here is my yellow ochre just from mixing burnt umber and the cadmium-free yellow. And this is what the yellow ochre looks like, not pre-mixed, like this is just straight from the Winsor Newton palette. And then this is what the yellow ochre looks like by mixing those two colors. So you can definitely get by without it, but I know for me, I do love the convenience of having it just already in my palette. But just wanted to show kind of a minimalist palette and how you don't need to invest in like 30 plus colors or something crazy from the get-go, but you can really work with what you have. So another brown I love on my palette is Van Dyke brown, and it's just like a nice dark rich brown. And I'm just gonna go ahead and mix up some burnt umber on my palette with a touch of ivory black. And this is just gonna turn into a nice, rich, dark brown. Okay, so that's almost identical. So here is the original Van Dyke brown from Winsor Newton, and here it is just by mixing up burnt umber with a touch of black. So that's one way to get that color. And then I've got Davies Gray in my palette, and really I love this color. And to achieve it, all I'm gonna do is really water down some ivory black, and that's it, just to get a nice pale gray color. And I do really love this color in my palette for the sense of not having to worry when I'm doing like a misty sky. instead of pulling from black, sometimes like a little fleck or chunk of black can get in there on your brush. And then when you glide it across the page, it kind of leaves a streak. That's on occasion. It doesn't happen all the time. But just to show, here's Davy's Gray. And then here's Davy's Gray just by watering down Ivory Black, sorry. So definitely don't have to have Davy's Gray, but it is kind of a convenience just knowing that it's always going to be this value when I pull from that color and I don't have to water down a color like black to get it. Now to get Hooker's Green, I'm going to mix up plenty of sap green, so this color here, with some Prussian blue, just to make it pop a little bit. Hooker's Green has a little bit more of a blue-green hue to it, and compared to sap green, which is more of like a yellow pulling green. So I'm gonna go ahead and do some color swatching here of mixing those two colors. I feel like I need a little bit more sap green in there just to make it pop a little bit. So I'm just gonna overlap just a little bit of sap green. Okay, I like where we got right there. So pretty close to Hooker's Green, not exact, but here is the straight Hooker's Green by Winsor Newton, and then here is this color I mixed using sap green and Prussian blue to get a little bit of a duplicate. Okay, so this next one is aqua green. I'm really excited to try this, but essentially to get aqua green, I'm gonna mix Prussian blue with cobalt turquoise light. So I'm just gonna go ahead and mix those two up on my palette, and we'll see how this turns out. I've never actually done this color combination, but I'm excited to see what comes out of it. Okay. All right, so there is my imitation of aqua green using the cobalt turquoise light and Prussian blue. Here it is on Winsor Newton, and here is that imitation of it. Pretty decently close. So I basically just wanted to make sure, you know, that you guys could get creative with mixing colors. Though this is in my paint palette, I would say these top 12 are the necessities. Any extra bonus colors are basically just to save time when color mixing, just to be able to grab a color such as aqua green without mixing it. Same with yellow ochre. So I know for me, the two colors that I absolutely love are Perylene Green and Payne's Gray. And you could certainly mix, say, some black with Prussian blue to get more of a Payne's Gray vibe. To get Perylene Green, I would mix sap green, Prussian blue, and burnt umber, and maybe just a touch of black to get Perylene Green. But I found I was like spending so much time, especially mixing up an imitation of Perylene Green, that it was just worth investing in that color, for example, just to have it ready to go and save some time. So depending on what paintings you do, you may find you have different colors that are your top necessity colors. So I would love to hear what colors are in your paint palette. If you want, you can comment below, and I would love to just see what your favorite watercolor pigments are. I hope that you enjoyed this color swatching video of my top 12 favorite Winsor Newton watercolor pigments. If you want to comment your top 12 Winsor Newton pigments, I would love to hear what those colors are below. It's fun to see what other favorite colors that other artists have as well in their palette. But I will see you guys next Saturday in my next upcoming tutorial, and happy painting!